You gotta be firm in this time, son. You gotta be strong in this time, son. I'm a survivor. I will survive. I will survive. And I'm a firm believer. We'll forever shine just to stay alive. That simple means it. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can turn me sick. I will let alone negativity. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can. Nobody can. Everybody show me some strength. No weakness. Show me a lion bomb. Strength. No weakness. Show them who we are. Strength. No weakness. Show me a lion bomb. Everybody strength. No weakness. Show them who we are. Not when you're old. Your enemies, they must tremble. Your enemies, they must tremble. Yo, not when you're old. Everything has to humble. Everything has to humble. I'm a go-getter. I just go hard. I just go hard. And I'm a kind of fella.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. How you guys doing? Welcome to Ride Along Live. For today, Monday. Hey, Monday. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Lacey J. First up, Hindra Samuel. How you doing? Welcome to the program today, guys. Lindy Romaine, how you doing? Welcome to the program. Welcome to the folks that's watching us over on YouTube as well. Yeah, the YouTube thing is growing nicely. I say thanks to everyone who subscribed to us over on YouTube. Big up all yourself. I really appreciate that. Big up, big up, big up. Yes, yes, yes. Who else we have? Who else we have? Andrea Lawrence, how you doing? Good evening to you. Good evening to one and all. Rena Noel, and she's back on Facebook after a hiatus for many years, many months. I ain't see Rena, you know. Months I ain't see Rena. How you doing? Spice Girl, how you doing? Claire, how you doing? Guys, listen now, listen. Let me tell you something. Before we start the program today, I must say that your boy is going to live for probably another 100 years. Because today, right, I had this routine physical. And you know how they say that men afraid to take physical and things like that? Not me, man. I have to make sure that I do everything. So today was one of those days that I had to go to the doctor and do a whole physical checkup, and the doctor agreed. You know, I mean, I'm probably gonna live until I'm 125. You know what I mean? Hey. You know what I mean? Can't wrong the brother. Yeah, man. Listen, I encourage women. It's important because you know a lot of men don't like to go to the doctor. A lot of men don't like to go to the doctor. So women, this is where you come in. Because you know women before they get a little pinch like this, they run into the doctor. Women are like that. Men are hard to go to the doctor. So women, here's what I need you to do. I need Kiki, how you doing? I need women to take the initiative and bring your men, your husband, your boyfriend, your brother, bring them to the doctor. Do not bring them to the doctor. It's true. You have to take them there. You have to take them to the doctor. It's a good thing. If you love your husband, you love your boyfriend, you love your brothers, take them to the doctor. Okay? Because I feel good. I feel good that I know that I'm good. And even most illness, right? Like cancer and all these things and them, all this thing could be cured if you diagnose early. My father, he died of colon cancer. So it kind of run in the family. And it's not easy doing that colon thing, but boy, the men and them know what I'm talking about. It ain't easy doing that colon thing, but it's necessary nevertheless. Take your men to the doctor. Right. Nice. Yeah. Because I'm getting old, you know what I mean? I'm getting old. I had to make sure. Anyway, guys, not for the talking about all of this medical stuff necessary, by the way. Let me share the program a couple times before we start. Not me. I don't run into the doctor. You should. Go ahead and run to the doctor. All right. Everybody share the program. Because on today's program, we are going to talk about a very topical issue. A situation that have been brewing on social media. A conversation that been had. Everybody talking about it. It seems that everyone have an opinion on this particular matter. Some people say that it's a non-issue, it's a non-matter. Nevertheless, over the weekend, we learned something very important. Well, not important, we learned something. Because of this particular story that aired on GBN, and we're going to show you the story and bring up to speed on everything, the Prime Minister announced that he may, or he's speaking to his lawyers to possibly start litigation against GBN for airing this story. Yeah. All right. First of all, let me show you the story. What sparked this whole conversation about land dispute? This is the story, and we also have the lady mentioned in here, Brenda, and her cousin is also on there as moral support. So this is the story that started it all. Take a quick look. Take a quick listen.
These wayside vendors say all they are trying to do is merely survive. Christine Stephen lost her home through fire a few years ago. As a single mother without a job, she's struggling to rebuild and look after her children from a small shop she built on what she says was once a pile of stones along the shoreline. Now she says she is forced to pay a lease for an area she created.
So I needed something to go by. So I see this place here, which not here, but I end up backfilling here. They had some loose stone where the leg up there, and I let it backfill here for me. And my mother's shop, my cousin, they mash it up, and I let it bring it here. So I backfill here. And then I go to the Prime Minister and ask him. I didn't just come here like that. And then he come and he watch it, and then give me the go ahead.
During construction, claims to the property were made by one Mr. Leroy Neckles. With little to no income, she says she was requested to pay Mr. Neckles $500 to start, and at the end of each year to pay $300 and cover the paperwork's cost, which amounts to a further $200 plus.
Him that I backfill here, he didn't have nothing here, so I tell him it's go easy on me because my house is just born and I need just something to go by. Then he tell me he got to rent me here. He got to lease the land for me. So he went me here. I look up come out and pay.
Brenda Frederick considers herself a victim. Similar to Stephen, she too backfilled an area and built a small shop, she says. Hustling to make $1, she says she was taken to court without prior notice. She says she was not given a fair opportunity as the matter was called behind her back.
First thing Leroy Neckles sent to me was a letter to break my place. He did not come to me like everybody is saying they're paying a rent. He did not come to me and say I have to pay a rent. He sent a letter that I have to break down. So Richie sent a letter now that everybody running to him to decide to pay a rent, but I did not do that. So he sent a court paper for me to go to court. The magistrate tell me that I have to break down in a month time, which is this month. It ended at this month, and I have to pay $843 back for he liar, he bailiff, and other stuff. I did show up, but I didn't know which. Well, number one court was the only court we had session going on at the moment, and they called the case behind my back. First court appearance.
The two females, along with another relative, wants the PM to understand their struggle and come to their rescue.
Government help us. Understand? Because I'm not working anywhere and my house is still not finished. Since after I got born, and I'm not working anyway, and I got 7 kids. what I depend on. It's like a business here.
Calling on the Prime Minister to really address the situation, because this is his constituency and he have a big say in that. As a matter of fact, she went to the Prime Minister on 3 occasions. And the Prime Minister, to me, based on my knowledge, he know the area here. And I think that the Prime Minister should be in a position whereby he understand that this piece of, well, let me say, reconstructed land is not Mr. Leroy.
GBN sought a response from Mr. Leroy Neckles.
We don't know about that. They have not backfilled any area, and we don't know about that. The property is mine, okay, and it has been from way back. It was in court, and I guess that's why she told you that. And the court, obviously, if we didn't have ownership or title to the land, could not have given judgment in our favor.
Mr. Neckles added that Ms. Frederick was ordered to cease construction. However, she continued. He also added that she was served a notice and refused to adhere to those requests. Christina John, GBN News.
All right. The Prime Minister, in a recent meeting, claimed that he knows nothing about this, right? In fact, the Prime Minister, I think we have a clip of the Prime Minister statement on it. The Prime Minister also went on to say that there is no way a parliamentarian could just give someone a plot of land like this, right? More on that later with Ruggles Ferguson. This was the Prime Minister respond to all of this, guys, in the meeting. Check this out.
People are good at this. Sometimes some of us are gullible. People feel if they call the Prime Minister name or they call the Minister name, you will lie down and allow wrong things to happen. But then you are the problem, the person who allow it. Because what I tell people is when someone come and they tell them, the Prime Minister tell them this, ask them to go to the Prime Minister and get a letter. You never see them again. Colleagues, I'm speaking like I'm preaching here this morning because I think it's necessary. Because last night, I understand, I didn't know, GBN put out some story that, and some Miss Brenda Frederick, a constituency, went to them and tell them, I give her permission to build some shop there. GBN, you're good, you know. Odette and whoever, are you good, you know? I like all you, man. I love all you. Prime Minister not in heaven and hell, you know. He's right here in Grenada. They call Mr. Neckles for explanation. They take the story the lady gave them and they put it on TV. But that is GBN. Sensationalism. Well, let me say this. I've had the unfortunate opportunity to sue GBN before and got money from them. I may have to do this again.
Right. Whew. Start to heat up. The Prime Minister accusing GBN of sensationalism and saying that they ran the story without even getting any comment from him, and they got the comment from everybody else. We also got a chance to speak to Mr. Neckles. I'm giving all you all ends of it, you know, so when we're speaking, we're speaking. We got a chance to speak to Mr. Neckles, and he also released a statement via the Lead newspaper where Mr. Neckles said that Mr. Neckles said that there's no controversy here. The portion of land is owned by Boucherjou estate property, and it was owned by Boucherjou estate property for years. So there's no controversy here. So here we have the Prime Minister saying he never made any of those statements. Here we have Mr. Neckles rightfully saying that he owned the land outright, so he could charge, and he rightfully so, he could charge someone or move someone if they're on the land. Here comes now Miss Brenda, who was named by the Prime Minister in this statement right there. She's here to clarify some of these things here for us. And she is joined by her family member. He is Mr. Henroy. He's going to be chatting with us as well. Henroy and Brenda, how are you guys doing?
Hi. Are you okay?
Are we doing okay for the time?
Okay, you guys okay for the time. Brenda, I'm going to give you an opportunity to really explain this here, because we're hearing one thing on one side, we're hearing another thing from the other side. The Prime Minister said that he never made any statement like that. But before we get to that, what transpired? Bring us back. What actually happened? What's the situation?
My situation with my shop was with Neckles. Well, I've been said the news on GBN, which I never mentioned. Kid Mitchell give me any land. Apparently, Kid Mitchell probably believe it's me who said that because I came to him 3 times. So I know nothing about saying the Prime Minister give me any land. I went to the Prime Minister to help me with the liquor shop that Leroy wanted to break down. That's why I went to the Prime Minister. That's why I went to the Prime Minister for. And when I went to the Prime Minister, he told me he and Leroy good. I was feeling comfortable. Well, you and Leroy good, you know, you could throw a word for me. That's in my mind. So I said, well, you could speak to Mr. Leroy for me. He said, well, you should have come to me before you gone to court.
Hold on, Brenda, back up a little bit. You said that, so the situation was that you wanted to erect a shop on a plot of land. You saw the land and you decided that you wanted to put a shop there, right?
Okay, I'm going to start from the beginning.
Yes, start from the beginning, so we understand the full realm of it.
Yeah, I used to sell at the side, on the roadside, and he had stone. Well, he used to have like, well, there was a back wall, so the sea defense, which used to be the beach before. I used to walk away from my house and cross the road to go to the beach. So after Ivan, they fixed the wall and they backfilled the stone.
Right.
So from all the years I've been selling by the road, I decided to put a little shop at 12 by 12 because, you know, I have been up and down. I have to carry the stuff back and forward. So I decided to put a little shop, you know, so I could store my things. And when I put the shop there, everyone is coming. The government is coming and said, to tell a bill, which is already built because we do it like one day. And
right.
Leroy Neckles and to be saying that the stop bill.
Right, but what I'm trying to understand, I want to take it very slow. So the plot of land that you saw, to your understanding, who you thought owned the land? Or who?
There was no land there. There was a beach. And my brother, when he was building, he dumped the stuff over, when the tractor dig the stuff, they dumped the stuff over to the stone. And also, I had truck dumping the stuff on the ground so I could carry it on top of the stone. So that how come the land become on the stone. The soil become on the stone.
So it was an abandoned land then. As far as you know, it's an abandoned land. Somebody just nobody own it?
Yes, it was the beach. It was the beach. Yeah, and they backfill the stone. So it's like the sea defense then the water has to come up to the wall. So that's how they become a backfill the stone. They build a wall and backfill the stone behind the wall. Because all there was the beach.
Okay. So you decided to put your shop on that area, which is you considered was the beach area, backfill area.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Before I put the shop by him, but I used to make garden there. She used to plant a lot of stuff there and decided I would just put something there. And that helped me have the shop. And the time I had the shop, I had been like problems with Leroy, the government stating the properties there. Leroy stating the properties there. So it's like have me confused, like who the property for? Because I know there used to be the beach. To my knowledge, I know there used to be a beach because I used to come out from my house and just go to the beach.
Right.
I used to joke Sunday. I used to heap up Sunday. So I don't expect anybody to own the sea defense.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. So then you decided, go ahead from there.
Yeah. So I decided to build my little shop. And going along, Leroy sent a letter for me to break the shop. So I was like, why Leroy sent a letter for me to break the shop? Well, my son watched it, my daughter watched it, and they was like, really? I was like, really? How could there could be someone else? This place could be Leroy own. then afterwards, the government people came and tell me that this place is not Leroy owned. This place is not belongs to Leroy owned. This place is planning. Yeah, it's planning came to me and said this place don't belongs to Leroy Neckles own. So Leroy Neckles cannot move you from there.
So someone in physical planning, which is a government agency, told you that it was okay to build because Mr. Leroy Neckles don't own the land.
That was when I built. They came after, and they came. They take a picture and they interview when my daughter speak. My daughter speak to them, which I was not there. But when I come and meet them late, and he was like, "Here is not Leroy Neckles' own. Here is not Leroy Neckles' own. So Leroy Neckles cannot move you from here." And they said to me they're gonna have a meeting. So they take my number and they never call and have any meeting. So I want to know where them know to defend us on that.
Did they give you any documentation? Did they give you anything in writing? Anything that you could hold in your hand?
They didn't give me nothing. They just tell me mouth, and they come on a record, and then they tell us they're gonna call us. They're gonna have a meeting with all of us, and they never called.
Right. Okay.
So
all right. Go ahead.
So after they left, Leroy sent me a court order to go to court. So I decided to go to court because I want to know, well, what land Leroy could own on the stone. So I decided to go to court. By my knowledge now, I know used to have court on number 1 for the longest while because number 2 court was fixing. So I went to court and I went to number 1. So while I'm up on top number 1, the case is going on in the bottom on number 2. So when I reached down there and I saw my name and I asked the lady in front of the door, the police in front of the door, she said the matter just finished. So I was like, oh, they could call the case behind my back, and she was like, yeah, they could do that. I was like, no, I mean first hearing, you know. I said first hearing. She said yes, they could do that. So then afterwards, can I talk to the magistrate? And she was like, no, you cannot talk to the magistrate because the magistrate is busy. I said, well, I just want to explain things to her to make her know I was in the court. So at least she could have said, the policewoman could have told me, well, you know, I could get you to talk to or you could talk to the prosecutor so you could get to the magistrate. But she didn't bother me. She just go inside and then she said she went and talked to that she don't have.
All right, we seem to.
Anyway, look at it.
Go ahead. We just lost signal a bit with you there. 1 second. We just lost a signal with you there for a minute, guys. But just to bring everyone up to speed where we are, we're talking about this land dispute controversy. Earlier we played the clip that was aired on GBN that started this whole talk, right? All right. So go ahead, Brenda. Go ahead.
So she told me, anyway, that's your charge. I said, what's my charge? She said, oh, you get a month to break down your shop, or you have to pay Leroy $843. I was like, what? Really? Behind my back. So I was like, you know, lost. Like, why they try the case behind my back? Is that the first hearing? It's not like I had the second hearing, I had the third hearing. You know, they could have waited and hear my point of view, but they did not because they said they could just do that. They could call the case behind your back.
So you missed. In other words, you missed the case. In the eyes of the law, you missed the case. Okay, right.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that point. I want to go back to that you said earlier, where you said that you and Henry jump in as well because you privy to that information. She said that you're saying that you spoke to the Prime Minister 3 times.
Yes.
What?
The first time I went.
First time. Go ahead. What was the first time?
When they charged me, I went to him and I asked him for help because I said, well, I need some help. I don't have no $843 to pay Leroy Neckles. No, and Leroy Neckles want me to break down the shop. So he was like to me, well, he and Leroy good. He gonna talk to Leroy. So I feel comfortable. Well, I say, well, yeah, he and Leroy good. Well,
Hold on.
sure.
So you are alleging that the Prime Minister told you, and that's your allegations. Your allegation that the Prime Minister told you that he and Leroy good, so he'll talk to him? That's what he told you?
He's gonna talk to him.
Okay.
So I went, well, I said, okay, then I left. And I go back again the following week. I went back to him. And he said he talked to Mr. Leroy, and Mr. Leroy said this thing been to court, and there is no way he could do that, and she have to break down. And he said he talked to Mr. Leroy, and Mr. Leroy don't give him a good feedback. So Mr. Leroy just want me to break down because he been to court, and the court said the order. So he was telling me to beg Leroy, please, like, please, go and beg him pardon. But I don't need to beg Leroy pardon. I don't do Leroy nothing to beg Leroy pardon for the stone. So he wanted me to go beg Leroy. So I said, I don't even know Leroy. Who is Leroy? I don't even know who is Leroy. He said, you don't know Leroy? I said, no, I don't know Leroy. So the third time I went, he said, keep me updated. He said, tell me. I said, well, you tell me because, I haven't been spoken to Leroy. So you have spoke to Leroy. Well, I did spoke to Leroy. I called Leroy and I said, Leroy, because I realized it's probably money he wants. So I just like, okay, if as soon as it's money you want, I'll just call you, give you a call. I did give him a call, which the man was talking like, if okay, he hears so much of things about me. So he's so ready to cuss me. And the kind of attitude, and if like I was saying, I's a big woman, he's a big man. We could speak word to word, And I tell him I was in the court, and he was like, I don't know you was in the court, so you have to go to tell the court that and explain that to the court, and you're wasting my time. So I said, well, so you prefer I go to jail and sit down? He said, I don't care where you sit down. And he cut off his phone. So I didn't call him. So I went back by the Prime Minister the third time, and I talked to him about the same thing. But we're doing a following up. It's like, the third time, so it's a following up we're doing. So I went to him and he said to me, he said, Leroy, he speak to Leroy again and Leroy thing, and he told me I should have come to him before the case called. But even though I come to you before, I have a court order, I have to go to court. So whether even though you talk to Leroy, I have to go to court.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Right. I have to go to court. So he tell me no, we talk, as normal. We didn't stay long, you don't stay long because you have a lot of people to deal with. So he tell me I could give you my number, WhatsApp me, and as answer message. I said, well, we is the group with us clean the area.
Who tell you that? Who tell you give you your number? Who give you their number?
The Prime Minister give me his number. His personal number. Okay.
Again. Okay, go ahead.
He tell me WhatsApp. He tell me WhatsApp him. He does answer WhatsApp. He said, haven't I used to talk to you before? I said, no, you never talked to me before. I don't have your number. He said, yeah, man, I'm sure I used to talk to you before. I was like, no, you never used to talk to me before. I said, probably my daughter you talk to. And then he laughed. Then he gave me his number. He's write it on his own. I did not write it. He gave me his number. He said, call me, WhatsApp me and give me the update because he said the police have to come. Otherwise, when Leroy have to break down, Leroy go have to bring the police to break down. So I don't know. He tell me call him and keep him updated. And he did mention the police. Well, the police go have to come, but update him, WhatsApp him. I said, well, okay. I get up, I leave, and I go again. He's like, no confidence there because you don't give me a good feedback with Leroy, and So I went home, and I tell my children, I say, hey, kid, give me his number. So I messaged Kit. I saved the number, and I messaged Kit. When I messaged Kit, he opened the message, and then he blocked me. So I never mentioned Kit Michelle, I never mentioned you commission a land. This is not my saying. Was the other person said that you give them right away to the land. I did not say that. And I heard that you called my name in Busheju. And I said that was a lie. But then I realized then you, I didn't even want to say it. Because I did not call your name. And if you're watching news and you're taking information from people, and then you sit down and watching news and say, sit down and see who said that. You would have never come on national TV and said that Brenda Frederick calling your name and say, I say that, or you give me right away for land. I never said that to you about you.
Yeah, in fact, he did call you out by name in that meeting there. This is some new things I learned. This is some new things I am learning.
There was lying.
Huh? Go ahead. Go ahead, Brenda. Kenway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm learning. Go ahead.
Yeah, Julia, first of all, I want to say this is not a political campaign, right? Because a lot of people think that this is something political and is gathered attacking the Prime Minister, right? It is not a political campaign. This is a person who have a genuine situation and just need a voice to be heard. And the thing is, I know Brenda for a long time, and I know that she used to be vending by the road, right? And she's not the type of person that go and ask people for things, right? She tried to create her own business and her own means of support, which the government is encouraging young people to do. And so, by using her creativity and her ambition, to build something for herself. Because I remember when she used to be selling by the side of the road in her little cooler, and making ends meet. And mind you, she had children that she needs to see after, and she's not working anywhere, right? And she constructed this shop there, and things is happening for her. I mean, she's not making pong and crown, how they would normally say, but she's surviving by the grace of God. And the question, Junior, I think that one should ask themselves is why her? Why she is the one that's been targeted, right? Why is she the one that her shop have to be broken down? That is a question that you need to ask, and that is the answer we need to give.
But
right?
I did ask the question to Mr. Neckles earlier, and if memory serves me right, he said that there are other people, I believe that there are other family members who also have shop on the same land area.
Yes, they are.
Right, and they are paying X amount of rent whenever per annum or wherever they are paying. But she was the only one that went through the process without contacting Mr. Neckles first. I believe, if memory serves me right, I believe that that's what was said. So do you know the other people who have land, who have shop on the same said property?
Well, yes, there are other people who have land on in the same area there.
But nobody asked permission to build.
And nobody did ask permission to build. Because, Junior, I grew up in Busheju, right? We all grew up in Busheju, right? As Brenda was stating earlier, in time gone by, there was no land there, right? There was absolutely no land there. From the road, there was a wall, and then there was sea, right? And I remember going on the Sunday and the beach there and the stone there and fish. So there was no land there to claim the land. No, the only thing is, I can say if Mr. Neckles owned the beach, then I can say that he have a seat. You have right to do what he's doing. But according to my knowledge, legally, I don't think anybody could own the beach. Because, right?
No, go ahead.
And again, legally, the government owns 6 feet away from the road. And Mr. Neckles did say to Brenda that he owned a portion of where her shop is. And if he wants to tell her to go back one, she was going to go back to the sea. So my question is, there isn't more than 7 feet of more than 15 feet of land there. So if he owns a portion of that, then the sea basically belongs to him. Because what is there now, Junior, is more or less, let me say, reconstructed land, right? There was wall, there was stone, there was sea, right? And as you know, there was a sea surging Grenada, and the previous wall was broken down. It was destroyed, and even up to the road, up to the point of the road, certain part of the road was destroyed also. So they rebuild the wall, they build a stronger wall, and we enforce the wall. What they did, they put stone behind it as a form of defense to strengthen the wall against the sea. Right? As time progresses, with the duration of time, you know, they begin to dump soil there, because as she said, her brother was doing some building, and instead of they dump the material somewhere else, she asked him to dump the material on the stone. Do you catch me? So then what I'm asking, the question is, how can you own something that was not there? How can you own land that was never there? What was there was stone and beach.
But
So
the determination, the legal determination of ownership, shouldn't that determination lie in the hands of the court, the magistrate, to determine who owned this or who have deed? Like if say for instance, someone have deed to a particular property, right? Doesn't that constitute ownership? Because if Neckles didn't have a deed, the court would not have would not have gone in his favor. So I said this to say, because I posed this question to the legal head, Mr. Ruggles Ferguson. I want you to look at this interview I had with Ruggles Ferguson earlier today, right? And this is one of the questions I asked him. Check out the legal term, the legal jargon from what Mr. Ruggles Ferguson said to me earlier today. Watch this interview, guys. Check this out. What's the proper channel for someone to go to in a situation like this?
Okay, Junior. Good evening, and good evening, listeners and viewers. Well, from the clip, it's the first time I'm hearing the clip, and for what I understand, basically, to put it as concisely as possible, that Mr. Neckles claimed ownership of that portion of land. With respect to the first person who came on, there seemed to have been some rental arrangement, and the rental arrangement seems to have broken down, and he went to the court, in this case the magistrate's court, for an order for possession. Because the magistrate's court is the court you go to when you are seeking possession for failure to meet your rental obligations. So that's one aspect of it. It was in the magistrate's court, not the high court. In the second instance, one person indicated, well, they did not pay anything or enter into an arrangement, and they were served with papers and they missed the court date. And there's a point I always make, Junior, and I want to re-emphasize that point. If you are served with court documents, do not treat it lightly. If you don't understand the court documents, then seek professional advice. Just as you go to a doctor if you have a medical issue, seek advice, because what people are frequently unaware of is that if you are properly served with the documents and there is proof of service before the court that you were served with these documents, then the court may then proceed, once it has evidence of service, to hear and determine the matter. So that matter with the second individual, or the individual who spoke last, would have been heard, based on what she is saying, would have been heard ex parte, meaning the court only heard one side only, and made a decision. Had she not been served, and the court not been served, being satisfied that she was served, then the court could not proceed to hear it ex parte. So that's from a procedural standpoint. Based on what you raised with me earlier, the question of land, and ownership of land, the first issue that would arise there is who owns the land. Because for Mr. Neckles or any owner, somebody who is claiming to be owner of land, to get judgment in his or her favor, then you have to establish before the court that you either own the land or you have a right to possession of the land. So there seemed to have been no contest on that issue. To the question you asked me earlier, as to whether or not a minister of government can give people permission to be or occupy land, and the short answer is really no. There's a procedure relating to government land, lands owned by the government. So if the government owns the land, they may choose to lease it to you, and it's always good to enter into a proper arrangement, a formal arrangement, lease arrangement. Or if you want to purchase the land, then the cabinet will approve, and once cabinet approves, they may give you a period to pay off for the land, and then the deed is done not by the government, not by the minister or prime minister, but the deed is done by the governor general. So all crown lands, all lands owned by the government, as they say, state lands, those lands are vested in the crown. And when they are to be transferred from the crown to anybody else, it's done by the governor general. The governor general would be the proper authority to do so. So if it's private lands, then the owner of those private lands would be the one to give you permission to be there. So you can't mount that as a defense if you are given permission by a minister, let's say, or some agent of the government.
Yeah. So I want you guys to chime in on what Mr. Ferguson just said there. Did you get a chance to listen the statements?
Yes, yeah, Mr. Junior.
Yeah. What's your take on what he said from a legal perspective?
No, on a legal perspective, Mr. Junior, I quite agree with Mr. Ferguson in what he's saying. On a legal standpoint, all right? But there seems to be some form of controversy still as related to that. Reason being because based on research, not own that piece of land, right? So I don't know what he presented to the court. Maybe he presented a document stating that he owned Boucher's estate, and in light of that, they made judgment in favor of that. But he didn't specify exactly where the controversy is. I think that's where the problem is.
So you're saying you're saying that the court is not privy to the bona fide document that states that he owns the property outright? The court won't be privy to that document?
What I'm saying, Junior, what I believe Mr. Neckles went, and I stand to be corrected, but I believe that is exactly what went on. No, I believe Mr. Neckles went to the court and presented documents that he owned it, right? No one can carry that. But the location in question here, does Mr. Neckles have ownership of that particular piece of land? Because if the government is saying, and based on lawyer research, it is proven that that piece of land does not belong to Mr. Neckles. Do
you have independent lawyer research that states that? Because this is very important and it's very significant as well.
Yes, there is some things you may not want to go in details with, but yes, okay, there are independent research that has proven that Mr. Neckles does not own the piece of land.
Interesting. That's interesting. Guys, you're watching Ridealong Live. I hope you go ahead. Go ahead.
That is what I'm saying. So there is some level of, number one, corruption somewhere, and there is some level of controversy because, and what I'm telling you, Mr. Junior, there was research done. There was research done that has proven, and the legal side of things, that Mr. Leroy does not own that particular piece of land. And as it was stated earlier by Brenda, agents from the government did came when she was billing, or when she finished bill, and told her that that piece of land does not belong to Mr. Neckles. So then the question that needs to be asked, who is telling the truth?
The government or Neckles?
Is the government telling the truth, or me telling the truth?
Well. This is deep. This is deep. What is the accusations are? I want to be very clear. I want to be very clear.
Because we want proof. We want you to bring that particular land paper to show us that he do own this part of Bushaju.
Right, but that would have been a judgment that was made by the court. So now the accusations are that the court was biased to Mr. Neckles because they're biased because he doesn't have the necessary document, but still they bring it in his favor. So that's a big allegations.
And documents he sent to me stated Bushaju estate. So
and he does not own all of Bushaju.
He does not own the whole of Bushaju estate. So we want him to show us the document stating that you own that part of Bushaju by the seacoast.
Right.
That will make it so clear for everybody, and everybody will be happy after and move along.
I want to go back to another piece of Ruggles Ferguson excerpt, right? Because Ruggles Ferguson kind of brought a kind of new take to this thing here. Let's say a second piece of the argument, legally speaking.
Because then that would not be able to defeat a claim of the person who is the rightful owner of that land. So there are these several issues, and once probably this situation could have been averted had after receiving the first letter from the owner, in this case Mr. Neckles, she said, sent a letter, and maybe that letter was responded to, or there is some dispute as to who owns the land, whether it's the government or whether it's Mr. Neckles, then one can always take the letter or follow up and write or respond to that letter accordingly. But from all that has been said here, it seems as though the matter, Mr. Neckles in this case, filed a court action in order to get an order for possession of the land. Then the court would need to hear evidence from Mr. Neckles, who is the claimant, saying that I own the land, I have a title deed to the land, or if I don't own it or have a title deed, I'm entitled to the land. The gentleman who came on last indicated that he was questioning whether or not Mr. Neckles owned the land. But again, these issues are to be dealt with in court. So where it mattered to say that, or if you had contrary evidence, is when the claim is filed now and the court is hearing the evidence, because the court won't hear the evidence of public opinion in making its determination. So there are many lessons, Junior, to be learned from matters as these, not for the persons themselves who are the victims of judgments, but for everybody. And part of it is the First Lady in particular, I can't remember names here, but she seemed, by entering into an arrangement with Mr. Neckles, she seemed to have accepted that Mr. Neckles was the owner of the land. She may have run into problems subsequently, and therefore, at that point, then she should negotiate with him in those circumstances, because she seemed to have already accepted that he was the owner of the land. If during the course of her occupation of the land some issues came up as the title, as to whether or not he owns it, then you have to move to the proper channels, make inquiries and engage, because these things reach court only as a last resort after letters written, possible exchanges. So I mean, I can understand the plight, especially having a building and having a going operation, a going concern. But maybe it's not too late to still negotiate. You never know. Try it, approach Mr. Neckles and say, listen, this is the situation. And try to work out some kind of arrangement where you have, as you say, a win-win situation.
All right. So let's go back again, guys. We're talking about this land dispute, and it's getting even more interesting, guys, with new allegations that it's possible there were some independent investigation, as was said here, that possible that Mr. Neckles don't own the land. There's some court bias. Again, that's allegations. There is a lot. So back to you, Brenda. The independent investigation that you said that was done, lawyers' investigation. What is the next step? Where are you guys looking to take this matter now?
Well, I'm not intending to say it on live, this thing, you know.
Right. Right. But it's safe to say, right, it's safe to say that you guys are not done with this matter right here. You guys are not finished with this matter. You're looking to take this matter further, correct?
Yes, and I want to appeal back the matter.
Right. Yeah. And someone said it earlier there as well. If it's not too late to appeal, let's get some of the views from the general public, the callers. Go ahead.
On top of it, on top of it, Leroy Neckles is such a man that is. I wish I record him when he was spoken up.
Hold on. I don't want to make this allegation here, because that is another set of legal hole that we're going on into, and I don't want to really get into that. If you have personal qualms with Leroy Neckles, that is, I don't want to use the platform to.
No, I'm just saying from my thought.
Yeah,
he
but
was referring nobody else. He wanted to send letter. Lay like 10 letter for the other shop. Everybody need to break down. Rich that he was lying about that when he know everybody is paying him. He did not come to me to ask me for rent. Like how he go to everybody else. Number 9. This is the guy that's go to the place and ask them, what they believe in and if they decide to pay a rent. But nobody came to me. So why me they attacking on this piece of land? First one they start selling on this stone. I the first one that opened the business on the stone. So me are the first one that on the business have the business running on the rock. You want me to break down? Why you want me to break down? And you haven't, if you're claiming the land as yours, you haven't charged me a rent like everybody else. You just want me to break down. Why?
Okay. All right. Kenra, any last word from you as to where next this is going and your overview of everything?
Well, as you said, Mr. Junior, that matter has not yet ended, and from what I understand from Brenda's side, that they will take that matter to a different stage. They will appeal the case, and because there is a lot of unanswered questions. And there seems to be, to me, there seems to be some form of friendship, corruption in and between. And Mr. Ferguson did mention about if someone was to pay rent to someone that does not own a piece of land. Speaking about the first lady that that mentioned that she is paying a rent. Now think about it, Junior. Now you have your children to see about, right? You've just lost your home, and here the government saying that the piece of land belongs to them. Mr. Neckles saying the land belongs to him, and threatening to bring down your shop. Now, in the back of your mind, you're in a compromising position because the government is not standing with you fully. Because as they have been established, nobody willing to give anybody anything in writing because they want nobody hold them accountable for anything, right? So then you're in that position there. You don't have proof yourself to say whether the government own the land and Neckles own the land. So it's obvious she's going to comply and pay her rent. Out of fear, she will comply and pay her rent. Anybody will do that. Anybody who is fearful of losing the job or fearful of losing the livelihood, they will compromise. And that is exactly what she did. She compromised and she paid the rent. But the question is still asked, who really own that piece of property?
Are you willing to share your internal well, I guess it should be public, because if you have that that information, probably you should make it present so that everyone would see that you have evidence contrary to the evidence that is provided. Are you willing to share with us the information as it relates to whatever investigation you had and the ownership of the property?
Well, the thing about it is, I have a lawyer standing on our side, right? And based on, you hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Go right ahead.
Yeah, based on the lawyer's investigation, because that is thing that is open to the public. Anybody can go and find out who owns whatever piece of land. So that's not a secret, right? So based on her lawyer's investigation, her lawyer has found out that this piece of property there does not belong to Mr. Neckles, right?
Oh.
Maybe she can try to get a copy or a snap and present it to you. Maybe you can show it or whatever to the public. But based on her lawyer's investigation, that piece of property is not owned by Mr. Neckles. So then is legal signs that
we would like to see that document, because the claim was made on this program. I would like to personally have a copy of this information, and I would also want to share this information. But hold on 1 second. Don't go further there. Hold that thought. We have a caller on the line. Caller, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling in from Brooklyn. This is John Crow.
Go right ahead, John Crow.
This lady, you sound like you're in a trap right now. You're in a trap with the government. You're in a trap with the planning department. You're in a trap with the Prime Minister office, and you're in a trap with Mr. Neckles. My suggestion to you is get legal advice and legal assistance, because this is not a fight that you could handle by yourself. I mean, not with all of whatever else is going on around you withstanding. The court has ruled in Mr. Neckles' favor in absentia, in your absence. And so you are kind of between a rock and a hard place, because you already have a ruling against you. No, I'm not a lawyer. However, in Grenada, we have a thing of, I think after 8 years or whatever number of years on a piece of property, you have what is called squatters' rights or something to that effect. I mean, we still under the British law that still is in effect. So through that means you might be able to get a leg to stand on, and maybe through the mercy of the court, if you will, a first-time owner and a user of the property.
Right.
Again, I'm not a lawyer. So speak to a legal person. I mean, you say you have research, and the young man said that they have research documentation to prove that it's not the property. No, I don't know anyone could own the beach, but no, again, history is have a way of slapping us in the face. Years ago in St. David's, we had a situation where a foreigner tried to block the beach and block the use of the beach by locals who've been using it for years. In recent history, we had the same thing happen again when they tried to construct a hotel on one of the beaches in Las Justin, that area, general area. Again, like Ruggles said earlier, when you get these kind of notifications, you have to pay attention to them, and you try to get there. If they tell you 9 o'clock is when court will start, you try to get there 7 o'clock, because they will switch the courtroom on you in a heartbeat. Even while you're standing in line, they will be switching. Even though they tell you is court number 1, they go to court number 3. So you can take a chance, because government are notorious liars. Government are notorious misleading of information. So please, you get a court order, a court document, or whatever to show up at court. Get the 2 hours before the time, because they will switch up on you, right, even while you're sitting in the correct space. Yeah. It seems like you might have a case if you could get a judge to appeal, to hear the appeal, and so on and so forth. Listen, I could throw a little side thing here, Junior. Yeah. There's a young man in St. George's who has a business, and he's vocal. He's quite a vocal, person. And as a result of him being vocal, he now has a no parking sign in front of his business. Right. Right. So and those are the kinds of retribution kind of a tactic that is used in a country where we try to get everybody. Jobs are scarce. Yeah. And people trying to make a living. Yeah. Okay. And they're trying their darndest to earn honestly. Right. Right. And then we do stuff, and then the government, if you will, has a hand in doing stuff like that, and is not able to help a poor woman like this. Yeah. Yeah. It really that to me is a big thing, that the government will stand there and beat down this woman who is simply trying to earn a simple, honest living. Yeah. And it's not like she's going to be drawing in millions of dollars with, flying off in a yacht and flying off in a own private jet and shit. Just trying to put food on the table for her children. Point taken. And the government will join in with a landowner. Again, this is I take you back in history. Janko, we're really, really short on time. We're going a little bit over. I'm not on time, but I want to say this thing. Gary was able to surface in Grenada and became as big as he was because he came in and he fought for people like this woman right here against the landowners at the time. Okay. Have a good. Thank you so much. 717015720 is our number if you're calling us to make a contribution to the program right here. Very technical kind of situation happening right here. New stuff. We learned some new things today as to what has been transpiring, and they seem like the fight is not over. There are a lot more fight in this because now there are new allegations. There are new allegations to this claim. And I'm sure that the powers that be, everybody's watching and probably everybody recording as well, because you want to see who could use the upper hand on each other. But if Brenda and then what you guys are saying that you have evidence, so strong evidence that back up your claim, I really encourage you to present it. I personally want to have a copy of it. I think it's important that we do. Let's just take this other caller and get a comment from you. Caller, where are you calling us from? Caller, where are you calling us from? Hello? Hello? All right, the caller get cold feet. Any last words, any closing words there, Brenda or Henry, you guys want to say before we wrap it up?
Well, I want to say thanks for everybody who's supporting and who is listening. But I want to say also to the Prime Minister, you disappoint me on my name because I never said that you give me any land. So,
right.
Thanks.
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I want to say, Mr. Luna, again, thanks for the opportunity to give our views and a voice to speak so that people can hear our side of the story. And again, I want to re-emphasize that this is not anything political, and we are not out here to get at the Prime Minister, neither Mr. Neckles. And we respect both individuals. in the position, in the authority. And all we want is just clarity to the whole situation here, because it's just somebody that is trying to survive. We're not attacking Mr. Neckles. If the land belongs to him, we need clarity on that, because it seems to be a controversial stand as related to that, and on both sides. We do not disrespect anybody. We just want the matter to resolve, and to resolve in a peaceful way.
Yeah. Point well taken. Let's try this caller again. I don't know if they have a question for you directly. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? All right, caller, you snooze, you lose. Caller, turn your background down, please. It's giving me a feedback, and listen to me on the phone lines. Hello?
Hey, Junior.
Yeah, hi. Turn your background down. I'm getting a feedback. Turn your background down.
Okay.
And listen to me on the phone lines. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Junior.
Go right ahead.
I remember some years ago how that piece of thing that this gentleman has owned. I don't know, Junior, how the court could give Neckles ownership of that piece of rock. Junior, that piece of thing only came about there when that road had been reconstructed many years ago. Because before the road was reconstructed, when the sea gets rough, the water used to come right into that road. So when they extend the road, they dumped rocks there. So the rocks would take the first lash before the water gets into the road. I cannot understand how come the court could give Neckles the ownership of those few pieces of rocks that's there. That is corruption, and that is wrong.
Why you say it's corruption?
Nobody not support that piece of land, Junior, is state, not even land. That piece of rock is state-owned rocks.
Right.
So I can understand how this guy came about. I mean, what went into his head to go to the court to get ownership of those few pieces of rock? It is wrong.
Yeah,
the court did a bad job.
Yeah, it is one thing.
Thank you, Junior.
Yeah, no problem. I'll take the next call. But what I was going to say is one thing to have. Caller, you live? Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Philly, Junior.
Philly.
The question is, I want to know who's paying the taxes on that said land.
Right. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. That's just my question. Who's paying taxes? Is the lady paying taxes, or the said owner paying taxes?
Well, she's not paying taxes because she don't own the land. So it would be whoever the owner is would be the person that's paying taxes on that piece of land. What information do you have, Brenda?
Well, to my knowing that no one's paying tax for the stone.
Right. Okay. So
thank you.
Right. Okay. So,
based on our lawyers' research, nobody's paying tax on for that piece of. So, based on how lawyers' research, no one is paying tax on this piece of.
Okay, and that's based on independent research. Again, I would love. I want to see that research. Go ahead.
Well, adding to that, when I went to the ministry to meet one of the guys to get the research, well, I have a meeting because he went into the field, and I having a little chat with this lady, but I wouldn't call she name. I having a little chat with this lady about the situation and whatever. And she was like, "Yes, Leroy own majority of bushes. We know all what's going on here because the government does buy over some of the property from Neckles." So I said, "Well, how could Leroy Neckles own the stone?" And the court, she know what she told, and she tell me sometimes you have to lie to get what you want. So I was like, okay, so that's how the thing works up here. And she was like, you see, I should have just hushed my mouth. And I started to laugh. So I was like, okay, so you think I should just go and lie? So I guess that's where the corruption going, and everybody just lying. For somebody who works in the ministry telling me that alone tells me.
Okay. All right. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I'll continue to take some calls, but I will leave you guys. I thank you guys for coming on. And if you could provide me with that information, I would love to have it. Um, your independent research, because it should be made public because it was mentioned here on the program. So, Brenda, thank you for joining us. And best of luck going forward with this. And we'll continue to follow what happens going forward. And Roy, thank you for being a support for her during this period as well. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's take a quick break. We take some calls and I have some final thoughts.
Thank
We'll
you.
be right back. All right.
Welcome to TD Bank, where you'll find the personalized attention you deserve and the legendary experience you expect. Let's do business. If you are a medical or dental practitioner, contact me to hear about our tailored lending solutions for residential mortgages, equipment purchases, practice-related commercial mortgages and refinance. Visit me at 500 Baychester Avenue to hear more about our full range of personal and small business banking solutions. See you soon.
Hi, guys, we're back. Thank you for joining us. There are more questions than answers. 718-701-5720. We learned a lot here today, and I'm quite sure we'll get some response shortly. Maybe some press release would start coming out. Maybe we'll hear a lot more, right? Well, we learn a lot. We learn a lot today, guys. We learn a lot today. There have been quite a few allegations on what happened, what transpired, whose land is it really? The court ruled that the land belongs to one person, and their independent investigation said that it belonged to the other person or to another person. That information we cannot independently verify that information at this point in time. So it will say that it's alleged. All right, caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, Junior, this is Dennis Charles. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you fine. How are you doing, Dennis?
Yeah, everything is good. Good afternoon to you and all the beautiful listeners out there. It's a pleasure. I'm here in Brooklyn, and listening to what is going on in Grenada breaks my heart. You know, right. I think it's time that we in the diaspora make our, voices heard. We contribute a lot, about 30% of Grenada's GDP. We keep the economy going, and we have a lot of cleaning up to do.
Right.
Grenada doesn't belong to one man. It is time for that guy to go. So we need everybody to come together to rescue that country.
Right.
Once and for all.
Right. But
thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Dennis, for your contribution. 718-701-5720. Call in, guys, and let your voice be heard on this issue here. Folks are saying that it's a non-issue. This is a non-controversy. The court ruled in favor of Mr. Neckles. He has deed to the property, is his land. Folks are saying that if anyone have to build on a land that is deeded to someone else, they have to either rent it or seek permission, and the person have the authority to remove anyone on their property. But again, the allegation goes even deeper than that. Get your voice on this 718-701-5720. I'm checking your calls live. Caller, you are live. Where are you calling us from? Hello?
Good evening, Junior. I'm calling back. I just called you a while ago. I'm calling from Grenada.
Yes.
Junior, I still cannot understand how the court gave this Neckles guy ownership of those rocks. I mean, what drove this guy to go to court to claim these rocks? It had to be somebody in high position. This guy accustomed to get ownership of those rocks. Junior, you have any idea what that area used to look like many years ago before the road was extended?
Yeah, I have a idea before the break what a project there. But what was posted, right? Mr. Neckles is saying that he owned this land there for many years. It wasn't now, it wasn't last week, it wasn't last year, it was for many years. That area there, and I read the statement that he made. He said that the management of the Scotty Boucheju Estate Limited, Mr. Leroy Neckles, has denied that there any controversy, speaking exclusively to the lead. On Thursday, said that there's no controversy over the portion of Boucheju Estate property. It is owned by Boucheju Estate property, and it has been for many years.
But Junior, my point is, when the government was doing that breakwater project, did the government approach Mr. Neckles in any way to back out that to do that job actually?
He's saying yes, they did. He's saying yes, they did.
Who's saying yes, Mr. Neckles?
Yes, he's saying yes, they did. And he had to grant permission to have them to construct that bridge, that bridge that goes across there. He had to give government permission to construct that bridge because it's his land.
Okay, I'm not talking about the part where the bridge is. I'm talking where those rocks are.
Right.
Because to me, where the bridge is, that area I would consider solid land. But where those rocks are, where those shops, I mean, how could somebody own that? To me, I see that as beachfront land or beachfront property.
Right. Again,
so something has to be wrong, brother.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is a legal matter, and I'm sure that there are a lot more legal fight in this right here, especially with the new allegation that was made here today. I'm sure everyone is looking.
That is called squatting. That is squatting on state-owned rocks. That is how I see it.
Okay. Thank you, caller. I'll take last call. Final call, 718-701-5720. 718-701-5720. Final call, and then we are already over time, so we're going to wrap it up. 718-701-5720. I want to play back a bit while we wait on the call, a little bit on what the Prime Minister said. Hold on, let me take that WhatsApp call. Hold on. Call on the WhatsApp. Hold on 1 second, okay? Call on the WhatsApp. Hold on 1 second. I'll take the caller on the phone lines first. Call on the phone lines. Go right ahead.
Yes, is that me?
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Yes. Listen, like I said, the lady's between a rock and a hard place. No pun intended. However, it comes down to this. And I don't know what her party affiliation is. But obviously, Neckles' affiliation, I'm sure, is with the government. Okay? And this lady, she might not be one of, quote unquote, the flag wavers of the party.
Well, I don't want to make that. I don't want to make that. That's a vague allegation because we don't know that to be a fact. That's an assumption.
I'm saying to you, that's how Grenada politics work.
Right.
If you support the party,
okay,
you're okay. If you don't support the party, licks.
Okay.
And that's what she's getting. She getting licks because and I'm sure she's not a party support.
Well, we don't know that for a fact either. But that's another assumption.
Okay.
But I get your point. Thank you, my brother.
Pretend like you're not a Grenadian.
Thank you, my brother.
Pretend like you're not a Grenadian.
Thank you, my brother.
Like you don't know.
You try that. I know you're trying to go with me, but I ain't gonna go there with you today.
No, I want you to go with me. No, it's me going there.
Okay.
Me. My name is John Crow.
All right. Thank you, John Crow.
You don't have to.
Calling you live. Where are you calling us from? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, turn on your background. Turn on your background and listen to me on the phone.
Oh, I don't have a background. I'm on a landline.
Okay, okay. I thought I was hearing something. Okay, that was me. Go ahead.
Yeah. With concerning the land in Boucheju.
Yes.
Hold
on, caller. What am I hearing in the background? You playing the show in the background?
No, I have like it's in the background.
I'm hearing
Like making.
I'm hearing myself in the background. I'm hearing the show playing in the background.
Yeah, let me take it off.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing.
Yeah. I'm calling you from Brooklyn, New York.
No, listen to me on the phone lines. Just mute the TV, the computer, the phone, mute that, and listen to me on the phone.
Yeah, you hearing me now?
I hear you much better now. Go ahead.
Yeah, concerning the land in Busheju, I really feel bad for what happened to the young lady, but and the land in Busheju is like Leroy dad land, Leroy father land, and I think the government, like they didn't pay the tax, and like the government take a portion of land from them, but like most of the land is Neckles dad land.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Busheju, so I have a way of like, I know that since like a little child growing up, it was Leroy Neckles land, but they didn't pay it. He didn't pay the tax to the government, so the government had us to like take portion of the land.
Okay. Well, again,
yeah,
I can.
The land is Mr. Neckles land.
Okay.
But I feel bad for whatever happened to the lady. But when about the prime minister had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think this is it. This is all I have to say. But the land is Mr. Neckles' land. But Mr. Neckles didn't pay any tax, so the government take away some land from Mr. Neckles. But the land is like his fatherland.
Okay. Again,
So
we
it's
can't
like
we cannot independently verify that. Those again, we consider that allegations.
Well, for what I understand, that the land was the fatherland,
Right.
and Mr. Neckles was not paying the tax.
Okay. Well. Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I feel bad for the young lady. I really feel bad for her because I know her as a little child growing up, and she trying to make a headway in life for herself.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for what happened to her.
Right.
But Mr. Neckles own a lot of land around there, so
Yeah.
this is what I know.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, you're
All right,
welcome.
cool.
Bye bye.
Yeah. Yeah. We gotta be careful when we are making allegation, and we cannot verify it to be factual. And I mean, she probably have all her evidence, but it probably not. They're probably not accurate. We don't know, so it has to be alleged. So we got to be careful when we're making those claims, all right, publicly. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Nevertheless, we're gonna continue to follow the story, and I'm gonna be speaking to everybody else that was mentioned here today, and find more information, and we'll publish the information right here on the ride. All right, thank you so much, guys. Also, I want to say before I go that I want everybody to go over to our YouTube page and like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We are moving all of our programming over to YouTube. Every program that we do is now going to be on YouTube, and if you want to get notification to our program now, you will have to get it on YouTube. So go and subscribe right now, and press that bell, so whenever we go live, you get a notification. Everybody go on YouTube. Also, for 24-hour programming on Ridealong, we want you to go to this website right here. It's called riderslive.com. You get news and information 24/7, right? 24/7 programming, news and information. Riderslive.com. Non-stop programming on riderslive.com. So two things I want you guys to do before you go. One, I want you to subscribe to us on YouTube. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube. I believe the information is pasted at the bottom of the page right there, right? And also check out riderslive.com. Guys, if you love Ridealong and you want to support and make sure that this program continue, you could become a supporter, financial supporter, donor of this program. The link I also believe is going to be pasted at the bottom if you want to make any sort of contribution to this program. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting, guys. We'll catch you guys again tomorrow. We have an interesting program lined up. Peace out, guys. Good night.
And I'm a firm believer. We'll forever strive just to stay alive.
Welcome to TD Bank, where you'll find the personalized attention you deserve and the legendary experience you expect. Let's do business. If you are a medical or dental practitioner, contact me to hear about our tailored lending solutions for residential mortgages, equipment purchases, practice-related commercial mortgages and refinance. Visit me at 500 Baychester Avenue to hear more about our full range of personal and small business banking solutions. See you soon.
Feeling hungry, grab a snack. Caribbean food delight. Jamaican